to the viewer, it looked like when he landed on top that he was, if not out cold, like I don't think you hit your head that hard and don't get a concussion.
What's up, everybody? It's Dave Drakes with The Collective Experience, and we are back for another TCE interview. This one's going to be a little bit different, though. We're going to try some condensed content, a little more short-form interviews, and we had to pick the guy that I'm sure you guys have seen in every single vlog. He's in most of my stories, AJ Catanzaro. I can't get him out of here. I'm sorry. I mean, he won't leave my camera alone. AJ, what's up, dude?
You're the one who's got my shirt on.
It's laundry day. Leave me alone, dude. I have like 15 of these things, man. What do you want me to do?
There's just Academy logos everywhere.
Everywhere, dude. No free ads. Anyway, yeah. So I wanted to get AJ on here. We got some things to talk about. And yeah, just trying out some short form stuff. Let me know what you guys think of it. Leave us a comment below. I want to make sure that the content is a little bit more palatable and better for you guys, because I know we're all in the rush. We're all doing things in the go. So this should be a little bit better. AJ Cat, we just got done with the Atlanta Supercross rounds. A lot of controversy, a lot of stuff going on. We have our vlog, which is going to be right there. Click that link that's popping up right now if you guys want to see behind the scenes vlog from Atlanta. But AJ, the one thing that that popped up was the whole McAdoo controversy. And I know, as a super trainer, as a guy that is constantly analyzing riders, critiquing, and you have your own conglomerate monopoly on the training game, I want to get your 2 cents on this. But first up, how are you feeling from the Atlanta setup, man? Like, the races were pretty good. You look like you were good. How are you doing? How's your day going? Give me a quick little ditty on what's going on.
Dude, I love them. I thought Saturday, the first one, was a bit of a wash because it was wet and slippery. And then Tuesday and this last Saturday, amazing. I love the speedway racing.
Yep.
I like the vibe of it. The only thing I think that I didn't like were, a couple high speed sections that didn't suit me necessarily, but even those I was kind of okay with.
Yeah.
And then the one big factor was the sun. Like my heat race, 450 heat 2, literally you couldn't see until the last lap.
It was absolutely on TV. I was like, oh man, that must burn.
Yeah, because you're watching, it was orange, and it's like, imagine what that looked like. Because I was on the line, I look over at Car now. He goes, dude, I'm putting my visor down. I'm like, all right, yeah, I am too. And then lap 1, it was bad. Lap 2, couldn't see anything. Lap 3, it was like, all right. And every single rhythm was going into the sun. All the easy sections were coming back the other way. It was the rhythms that were all going, of course, into the sun.
That's ridiculous. That would throw me off big time. But dude, the last race you had, I texted you directly after the heat race. And I was like, man, like, who's this Albert Catanzaro guy? He's riding really good. I haven't seen this guy show up to a race in 2020. Dude, you look great. Qualifying was really good. I know people wouldn't realize this about you, but you are like, you come alive when there's a long, gnarly whoop section. And I don't think many people, because you don't talk about it very often, I don't think many people realize that when we do have the Chad Reed / James Stewart kind of whoops that would put a smile on those guys' faces, that's when you get excited, right? Like, you're one of the only privateers that likes that stuff.
Yeah. And not to say I'm at their level of whoop speed. It's just that I think that
I did not say that.
Well, the more I talk about it, the more I'm concerned that people are gonna be like, oh, he keeps bragging about his whoops. And it's not that. It's just, I think anytime that there's a technicality or like a unique section, I get excited because it separates people.
Exactly.
And I think just the fact that I get excited about it makes me ride a little bit more loose and confident on the day.
Yep.
And it just gives me confidence. Like, I went to Jason after track walk, and I go, I've never been so gung-ho. Like, I'm going to go out in this free practice and lead everybody no matter what, because I want to get to that whoop section first.
Yeah.
Like, I had that type of excitement.
Yeah.
And then that just energy carried throughout the day. All because I saw a long set of whoops. Like, that's all it was.
Yeah. No, I mean, I can definitely attest from, personal anecdote that you do seem to excel in the technical stuff. And that's, I think, where, a lot of your training, your fundamentals, your technique comes out, is when we really see those technical things. And that's when the, AJ Catanzaro, academy kind of hat comes on, and you go through them really good, and it's impressive. And I think a lot of your students can kind of, pick that out. Yeah. So kind of going back a little bit, McAdoo, man, he's a buddy of yours. He's a good guy. I like him. He's always cool to me. Super nice guy. But man, it seems like this guy can just not catch a break, dude. Like, what was your take on that super gnarly crash? Not the first one where he tried getting a little cute over the over and and got thrown off and high sided. I mean the really gnarly one, the face plant into the face of the jump, and it was night for him. Like, what was your take on that?
I mean, it was terrible looking. You never know though, because a tip over could lead to a concussion and some serious injuries, and then the heaviest slam you've ever seen could lead to nothing. So you don't know what it felt like, how bad it hurt, if it knocked him out, if he had a concussion, unless you're Cameron McAdoo. Yeah. So other than that, it's all just us speculating, I guess. I mean, to the viewer, it looked like when he landed on top that he was, if not out cold, like I don't think you hit your head that hard and don't get a concussion, right? Because what is a concussion? You go to the doctor and you say, hey, I fell and I hit my head. Oh, okay. Well, he had a concussion. Yeah. There's a lot of gray area there. So, and a part of that is there's just not a lot of knowledge on what's what. Yeah. So if that's the case, then he definitely had a concussion, and it's only, the doctors assess him, but it's ultimately McAdoo's decision to know whether he's in the clear enough state of mind to be able to ride. Because I lie somewhere in between on it. I see that crash, and one side of me goes, okay, that is really bad. He's probably not safe to go out there 5 seconds after that. Yeah. But then the other side of me goes, well, if I crashed and I came to or didn't even get knocked out and just slammed that hard and everything hurt, but I knew the championship was on the line, of course I would go back out on the track. I wouldn't even have a second thought in my head. Exactly. And that's, I think a lot of people kind of fall between both camps. I would say I'm more 55, kind of 45, like 55% on, bro, you were taking a nap, bro. You were nighttime, melatonin pills, you were out, bro. And then, you know what I mean? Like, part of me, a little bit more of me was like, that was sleeping, man. You were out. And like that, to me, should mean all, you get carted off. Like, that's the AMA says, hey, it's a liability to yourself. We don't want you getting hurt any worse, take the night off. But also another part, the racer and Dave is like, bro, you got to keep going, homie. Like, you can't stop. Like, you're super close in points. The guys that you're chasing or you're battling in points with aren't slow dudes. Like, you need every little bit of track time you can get. And still he got a third. So like, I mean, yeah. So how much do I know about that stuff? But no, I mean, it was super crazy. But yeah, man, it was nuts. And you and I talked about it a little bit. It reminded me of years ago. This is probably dating ourselves, AJ. But when Zach Bell first went pro, I think it was Texas, if I'm not mistaken. And he dragged his foot scrubbing a triple. And he literally went from however triple height is to your max crest, and fell straight down to like his face pretty much, off the triple, and was knocked out. And then, would say like, oh no, I wasn't knocked out, even though clearly he was, and kept racing, that night, went to the LCQ and blah, blah, blah. It kind of reminded me of that. So, I don't know. I'm just curious. I mean, you're a racer, you were there that night. Like, what, I don't know. Do you think the AMA made a good call letting him race? Do you trust the AMA ruling? I mean, yeah. Well, okay. So then the AMA ruling would lead me to another conversation of, is it fair that he got back out on the track? Right. I think that the AMA ruling of having Alpine Star Medical guys check him out and go through their process is as good as it can be, because like I said before, who's to say other than McAdoo that whether he felt capable or not? Yeah. Unless he was obviously like couldn't even stand up straight. But if he came back and he passed their tests, whatever that looked like, that check his eyes, like do this, ask him a question, and he's on par, and he looks like, he's not too dilated and things aren't too crazy, then he's clear on that end. I would say I lie somewhere in between on the AMA rule of a person being able to cause a red flag, and then go back out.
Yeah.
Because then who's to say that somebody wouldn't like, cartwheel in a whoop section and then play dead for a couple minutes, get a red flag and be like, oh, I guess I feel better.
Yeah.
Just to initiate a restart. I don't think that would happen, but with that rule, that would allow
leaves it open. Yeah, no, for sure. I definitely agree with you.
And I'm not saying that McAdoo did that because he obviously did not.
Yeah.
But I'm just thinking hypotheticals here, and like that theoretically would open up opportunity to do that. And I just don't think it's 100% fair. Yeah. But the other end of that is, okay, let's say 3 guys collide and one of them gets seriously hurt and he's out of the race. The other 2 were kind of collateral damage in that. That, if I'm defending my other point, then that would also make those 2 guys not eligible to go out and race either. And I don't think that's fair. Yeah. Because they were just collateral damage to a crash that caused the red flag. So if that makes any sense. I don't know. Yeah. I lie somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, exactly. Same. It's definitely, it's a tough calling. So following that crash, we saw, he got the 3rd place. He's a champ. And by the way, we are not talking crap about McAdoo. We're both fans. We think he's cool. The guy he's a stud for soldiering on. But when we came to this, the 3rd round, the one where you did really good, man, was there a dark cloud over the kid. I mean, we saw that gnarly get off in practice over the triple, which thank goodness the guy downsided the double. You know what I mean? If he would have came up a little bit more short or went flying a little farther, it would be a whole different conversation. But thank goodness he salvaged that. And then we saw another 2 or 3 crashes before, we were in the main. Do you think at that point it's a good call for like Mitch Payton to say, you know what, kid, we're going to bench you. We're going to pull you off the track. We're going to let you heal, figure out what this little, these little nuances are making you fall are, and then get your prime for outdoors. Like, do you think Mitch should have made that call, or is that even a team manager's spot to be able to make that call?
That's tough because so we can go in order here. And Tuesday is when he got hurt, right? So Tuesday, his main event after that was pretty darn good. He had his first lap. He overshot the 3-1 right off the start, slammed his face again on the crossbar pad. Yeah, and made a couple other like
you just disappeared. There's no signal.
Oh, son of a gun!
Did your camera die?
It might have.
Oh God, dude, your camera dies all the time.
Oh well, I could just switch this over. Oh, and I could just go to
typical AJ. Technical difficulties. Oh my gosh. So also, I'm gonna put this is all staying in, by the way. AJ and I did a re-record because AJ still had like his Iron Man display of every camera setting known to man. It was up on the display. You could literally see it like working in real time. So we had to figure out how to get that going and switch up. So we're gonna put that at the end of this video so that we can see just all the gaffes and snafus that AJ does on camera. All the technical difficulties are absolutely outrageous.
Business here any second.
Oh man.
And
do we need like a collective experience overhaul of your studio?
I'm getting there. I'm getting a start video.
Perfect.
Oh man, we're back in business, dude. That quick.
That's
Look
so
at me.
Close. Ugh.
Look at me solving technical difficulties. Okay, let me get back to my seat. And we're good.
Okay.
Okay. So rewind. I'm tangled. So Tuesday, his main event was pretty clean.
Yep.
Right. And that was when he was most concussed, if he was concussed. Fast forward to Saturday, concussions, if he had one, is less of a factor, but 3 days, 4 days post-injury, whatever the heck else he hurt, is probably way worse than that night, right? You have a couple of days of like really letting the soreness kick in. He's probably, I know his groin was hurting. He had some things that were really hurting that didn't allow him to grip the bike the right way.
Yeah.
Now this is where things start to get a little dangerous because in my mind, I see him case that quad on Saturday.
Yep.
And his body just kind of gives way and caves to the front. Now, he could have just thought in that obstacle, yeah, if you clipped it by the tiniest bit, it didn't look like it was going to do much and it would snag you. So it was easy to take it for granted and not brace for impact and then fall over the front.
Yeah. Yep.
I saw multiple guys do it.
Yeah.
But it also could have possibly been that he was bracing for impact and didn't have the strength to save it.
Okay.
Again, it's all speculation. I mean, both things are possible. And then the other crashes, it could have been either way too. Like, were they racing incidents? Like him getting landed on the start? Was it his fault? Was it because he was hurting? You know, he got taken out by Marshbank, so that wasn't his fault there. He endoed in the whoops. That also wasn't his fault. It just seemed like he was in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah.
Other than that one big crash on the quad, which that was obviously completely his fault. But it was getting scary. And I went up and I talked to his mom for a couple minutes.
Yeah.
When they red flagged it, when McAdoo got landed on and Bloss got hurt. And I was just like, how are you holding up? And she was crying.
Yeah.
And she's like, this is just, I just don't know. I mean, it's up to him, but I just don't want him out there anymore. And yeah, I mean, I get it because I get it from both ends, you know?
Yes, exactly.
I get it. If I was McAdoo, I would be out there too.
Oh, heck yeah, dude. If I'm that
until like a limb fell off, you know, and then I would still be out there.
Exactly. Yeah. To get that title for PC, I mean, imagine not only, I'm sure McAdoo would be stoked, right? Knowing where he comes from. And again, many people forget, like, the dude is super nice. He's hardworking. He wasn't a staple in amateurs. He wasn't an AC. He wasn't a Hammaker. He wasn't a Forkner. Like, the guy, like, wasn't a big name in amateurs. He came in as a fill-in for a lot of different teams, worked his ass off, and then finally got, like, you know, a full-blown ride with PC after a little while. And he's been really doing that team proud. Just imagine how happy he would be knowing, like, the almost hard knocks route he went to be able to get that title, and especially for PC that hasn't had a championship since, you know, AC and outdoors. Like, when's the last Supercross title they've had? You know what I mean? So I'm sure that's something he really wanted to do, and the team wanted to do. So of course, like you said, you want to be out there until a limb falls off. You want to take every available opportunity to make sure that you set yourself up for that potential goal of getting a title. AJ, like, you know, again, you're Mr. Fundamentals. You're the guy that everyone pretty much goes to for technique stuff. What do you think he did wrong with this technique leading up to the big crash, as well as the other ones that kind of that followed? Was it like a feet thing? Was it a head thing? Was he just in the wrong gear? What was it in your point of view?
So the big crash into the face of the over-under bridge, he went 3-2 and he went to go scrub the 2 and he just got kicked like crazy. And it almost looked like he got kicked so bad that he was in a false neutral, or maybe he was one gear too low. But that was also due to, you know, his body flew to the front. And it looked like it flew to the front because something happened. Either you hit a kicker or he got thrown into the wrong gear.
Yeah.
A combination of both. So technically, you know, not much that went wrong there. It's just something that's small that happened really quick, and it just led to a ginormous crash. The one Saturday where he cased the quad, the reason he crashed is because his knees flew to the front. So he should have cased it level the way that he did. He shouldn't have lofted the front end or done anything different from what he did. He just needed to, when he landed, not allow his knees to cave forward.
Gotcha.
And he knows that. It's just, I don't, you know, either he didn't have the strength or he wasn't expecting the impact to be so hard. And then he was just trying to be loose on the bike and the impact was hard and his knees caved over the front.
Yeah.
And in Supercross, you know, you're one small mistake or body shift, weight shift away from endoing your brains out. That's just how Supercross is.
Everything happens very, very quickly. Do you think that there's anything that the average rider can do, you know, when we're looking at jumps that may be similar, that we can do to maybe prevent stuff like that from happening, or maybe set ourselves up so that if it does happen, we know we don't end up having a catastrophic ending like McAdoo?
Yeah, I mean, just stay in position with your knees back and your head forward and brace for impact no matter what. And just like, don't take for granted a landing, because you could land and land on a boulder that you didn't see, or land in a hole that you didn't see, or clip the jump by an inch more than you thought you were going to.
Yeah. You
want to be riding loose on the bike enough that you're not death gripping and getting arm pump, but you need to be tight enough with the knees to where just in case, like you can withstand an impact at a moment's notice.
Yes.
It's tough. I mean, dude, in time qualifying, I was going through the whoops, and every time I messed up the whoops, it was always because there was somebody around me that I was checking up for, right? And when you check up in whoops, they get dangerous. So I checked up, and then when I did, dude, I just started endoing. But for some reason, I didn't panic, and I just kind of stayed in position.
Yeah.
But well, normally I would have like tried to bail out one way or another. Just stayed in position, and I perfectly nose tapped 3 whoops, and then just kind of continued about my business. Like to the point where on my GoPro, you can hear the flagger go, "Whoa!" And I just kind of like stayed in it, and it was perfect. A perfect example of that is look at Roxon's crash in the main event.
Whoops. Yep.
He knew he was going to crash, but he did not move from position.
That should have been so much more worse.
And he just
so much more worse. Yeah.
So much more worse.
More worser.
So much more worser.
Yeah.
He just freaking hit the brake, stayed in position, and literally stepped off the bike.
Yeah.
You know, if most people, that would have been an endo, a huge swap, and like cartwheel, they get tossed off.
Yep.
He stayed in position, and look at what it did.
Exactly.
I know I sound like a broken record, but the same things that apply for what I'm teaching the students applies tenfold for the guys in Supercross because of how steep and dangerous the obstacles are.
Exactly.
That was such a good example.
Yeah. The margin for error for you guys is this. When we ride our normal outdoor tracks, I mean, we've got, I mean, how much? I mean, the local practice track, hundreds of feet, man. I mean, you can, there's so many instances, but yeah, for you guys, I mean, you guys are literally on the razor's edge at all times. So it's pretty gnarly.